Hello, today I will be with you on the second video of this module, Data Collection for Needs Analysis. In this video, we are going to look at two main aspects of data collection for needs analysis, which are sources of data and data collection instruments. We will start with the first question. What are possible sources of data for the needs analysis? You can pause the video for 45 seconds to come up with the answer. Alright, there are various sources available for a course designer to get information about students' needs. Basically, there are two main types. On the one hand, the first type can be documents, like both published literature, like research articles, unpublished ones with the example of in-house report, or previous test results and mark records of students. On the other hand, a course designer can also refer to current and former learners, teachers, and applied linguists, domain experts, or subject specialists, and sometimes employers. For most cases, it is helpful to use triangulated sources to compare and contrast the result. Then more reliable assumptions can be made. Our next concern is, what are instruments that can be used for your needs analysis? Like carrying out any study, we need to use the most common instruments like interview, questionnaire. In some cases, language audits are used to plot the role of a foreign language in an enterprise, which helps to determine the language needed for a job and the present ability of the learner. Other alternatives can be lesson observations, diaries and log, spoken and written discourse analysis, and tests. Finally, just like triangulated sources, triangulated methods are used to cross-validate the data. So, can you match the source of data with a method that can be used to collect them? According to Dudley and John in their book published in 1998, research analysis and questions in structured interview can help to gain information about necessary documents, while interview, questionnaires, and record keeping can be applied to learners, employers, or other people. Observations may be done while these people are doing their tasks related to language or are taking part in private language classes. In the later part of this video, we will find out more about the specific features of each instrument. The first instrument is interview, which considers structured, semi-structured, and unstructured interviews. Structured interview considers questions which have been carefully thought out and selected in advance. In a semi-structured interview, the researcher sets the outline for the topic covered, but the interviewee's responses determine the way in which the interview is directed. In unstructured interviews, neither the question nor the answer categories are predetermined. Structured interviews should be recorded so that interviewer can really listen rather than take lots of notes. The art is to gain the maximum relevant information in the minimum time. On the other hand, semi-structured interview is the most commonly used type interview used in a qualitative research. Just because unstructured interviews don't use predefined questions doesn't mean that they are random and non-directive. Unstructured interviews cannot be started without detailed knowledge and preparation if you hope to achieve deep insights into people's lives. Therefore, key skills for interviewers are active listening, summarizing, and asking open questions. The second instrument is checklist and questionnaire. Checklists are narrower in scope and more commonly used for a qualitative field. They can determine facts or attitudes. Questionnaires are an obvious choice for needs assessment, but not always the most effective, depending on when they are given and how well the learner understands the kind of information that is sought. The advantage of questionnaires is that you can tailor the questions for your particular group. However, the disadvantages are that teachers sometimes go overboard with questions. Students are not sure what the right answer is, or they don't have the language to answer them. For example, in an effort to find out what kinds of learning activities students prefer, if role plays are on the list, and the students have never heard of the role play, the teacher will not get the information he seeks. For this reason, I suggest that questionnaires about ways of learning be given after students have experienced different ways of working in the class, so that their answers are grounded in experience. The third instrument is observation. Observation can cover a range of activities from watching a particular task being performed to shadowing individuals at work. Observations have led to an understanding of how and when English and the first language are intertwined, of the code switching which often goes on. Most observations or shadowing is for target situation analysis purposes, but it could be for the present situation analysis of a particular individual. Most observation for evaluation is classroom activities, but it could also include seeing how well a learner is coping with using the language in their work or studies. Classroom observation requires careful groundwork and handling. After the session, observer and teacher should share their perceptions of what was happening. The early comments must focus on positive features. Beginning with negative comments set up the wrong perspective. The text can be written documents or audio and video recording of events such as lectures, meetings, telephone interaction, and classroom activity. The analysis may be for target situation purposes to determine the key linguistic feature of a communicative event or genre that is new to us. Authentic texts are invaluable for learning about real and carried content. Assessment includes formal and informal judgment about student performance and progress toward classroom work, assignments, and tests. Testing or assignments may form a part of a pre-course presentation analysis or evaluate progress. Issues of assessment and testing are covered in Module number 9. Ongoing needs assessment activities follow the basic needs assessment cycle. Gather information about where the learners are and where they need to or would like to be. Interpret that information and act on it and evaluate it. Ongoing needs assessment may take place through careful observation of the students as they learn. Based on that observation, you can make decisions to adjust how structured their learning. Such observation and adjustment are the foundation of a good teaching because they require the learners to be engaged in learning in order for the teacher to have something to observe and assess. For the activities to work, they must be focused on the student learning and their perception of it and on issues they wish to address in the classroom. Two common forms of ongoing needs assessment are regular feedback and learning logs or diaries. First, regular feedback sessions offer the opportunity for learners to reflect on the class up to that point and to express their views about what has been productive and what hasn't with respect to the needs as learner. One of the challenges of this type of assessment is to focus it on the learning so that learners do not perceive it as an evaluation of the teacher's performance. An example from a teacher shows the process of regular feedback session. First, the teacher elicits from the student the activity that week, going into detail so that everyone clearly recalls the activity and its procedure. Next, the teacher writes 2 or 3 questions for the student to rate or assess them with. For example, question number 1. How valuable was this activity in helping you with? Maybe is that the pronunciation, listening, speaking. Question number 2. What did we or you do that made it helpful? And question number 3. What will you change next time? Given questions, start with concrete, specific questions initially and moving toward more open-ended questions. As students become familiar with and skilled at giving feedback, if students are not familiar and comfortable with giving feedback, especially as individuals, the teacher can start by having them discuss the question in pairs, then small groups, and finally have them report to the whole class the findings. Second, unlike regular feedback which are given as an in-class task by teacher, learning logs are records kept by the student about what they are learning, where they feel they are making progress, and what they plan to do to continue making progress. When using learning logs and diaries, it's important for students to have a clear focus for what they are to write about, at least initially. Once they are comfortable using them, students can take the initiative in deciding what to write about. The final aspect that I mentioned in this video is data collectors. You think who they are? In fact, both outsiders and insiders could be involved. On the one hand, outsiders like administrators or sponsors can be others in the same institution who are not involved with the course. Complete outsiders are most likely to be used both for needs analysis and evaluation on large-scale projects with external funding. Outsiders do not know the situation and the environment, so they may misinterpret the data. On the other hand, insiders have a feel for the situation, but can be too close and involved, so they lack expertise as well. As a result, a group of unknown respected outsiders and insiders is one alternative data collection group for needs assessment. Alright, that's it for this video. We have already reviewed sources of data collection and the common instruments. We do hope that you enjoy it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.